Welcome to the show with no interference. Get all your NFL needs made by fans for the fans. We are your hosts, West Side, Big Sass, and the Bull. So here we go. Welcome to the show. This is no interference. We're just going to do a little post-draft update and talk about some things that have been going on in the NFL. We are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. So, I guess some of the first breaking news we can talk about is the recent DeAndre Hopkins suspension. He got a 6-game suspension for, I guess, PEDs or performance-enhancing drugs. So, I mean, that's a pretty lengthy stretch for the Cardinals to be without probably one of their more important offensive players.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at last year, they started 7-0, 7-0, 8-0,
something like that.
And DeAndre Hopkins was going off, and he had that hand injury or whatever it was, and I don't think that was the main reason why they kind of fell apart, but I mean, it seemed to be a big reason why Kyler Murray started to struggle. I mean, he obviously relied on DeAndre Hopkins, and DeAndre Hopkins is one of those players where you can just throw the ball up to him and he can make plays, whether it's toe dragging or
the Hail
sticking
Mary against the Bills 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even this, yeah. I was about to say that play.
RJ, what did you say? Like, oh, it makes sense why his hands are so strong or something.
Yeah, because he's shooting PEDs into his hands directly. Yeah, it's unfortunate to see one of the best players, go out like that. But his, I don't know if you guys saw his statement. He was pretty heartfelt about how his 10-year career he's never done anything like this before, and yada yada yada. But I don't think the tests really lie.
Or he just at the end of the day, he finally got caught.
Yeah. He could either finally got caught. He could be getting a little bit older, so maybe he's changing up like things he's taking. Maybe he didn't know he took it. I mean, that seems to happen sometimes. Players can say they didn't know, and then they still get suspended.
I mean, it's not like he. I don't think he came out and was like, "Oh, I didn't know I took it," or "I was taking something that I didn't realize had a banned substance." He just was like, "Sorry, Cardinals fans," or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't say he didn't take it, but at the same time, like you were saying, he said he's never. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even if it was an accident, they're still going to suspend him because even if you accidentally cheated,
you're $1 million athlete. You got to be responsible for what you put in your body, one way or the other.
Yeah, it makes me feel like these guys have like their team of guys that put their pills in little like containers, like old people. Like, here are your pills for the day. This is what you're taking for your training this week. Like, do you really not know?
What's this big gold pill that says stuff?
Michael's secret sauce. Like, I don't know.
Don't ask me questions. Just take
it. I mean, I'm sure they pay a lot of money to their nutritionists and all that kind of stuff, and the people, do their supplements. But you gotta know what you're putting in your body at the end of the day. Yeah, it's your body, your temple.
Yep.
They're gonna have to. The Cardinals are definitely gonna have to weather this this storm, because it's definitely gonna affect I mean, 6 weeks start of the season. Like, if they get a rough patch, that could be it. And there are already issues with this Kyler contract. It'll be interesting. Now, on the fantasy perspective, we haven't talked fantasy much on the show, but is DeAndre Hopkins someone you look to snag later in the draft to have him for the final 10 weeks?
Something to consider.
Little draft stash, yeah. Definitely, I think it makes his value drop and maybe a top receiver fantasy pick.
Whatever obviously, I say right now would be the wrong decision anyway, so
it goes opposite.
Do the opposite.
Yeah.
Draft him early.
Yeah. It makes you wonder though if that's why you might be able to transition as well to why maybe the Cardinals traded for Marquise Brown in the first place. Do you think they knew that it was coming up?
Because
Rondell Moore and AJ Green now and him. So they still have 3, receivers that can do it. AJ's getting old.
Yeah. I think it's definitely valid that they could have known in advance, but I think it's also they are just trying to make Kyler as happy as possible, so might as well pull the trigger on one of his supposedly best friends.
I
former college teammate.
Yeah, I completely forgot that he went to Oklahoma and they played together. I don't know why I thought Hollywood Brown played at Alabama.
Yeah. So since we're basically on the topic now, during the first round of the draft, the Ravens sent Hollywood Brown to the Cardinals for the 23rd overall pick. I've never been the biggest Hollywood Brown fan. Wasn't he the first receiver drafted in his year? He's really slight.
I think so.
He
was the 25th overall. I don't remember if he was the first or not, though.
Yeah, I think he gets locked up in man coverage even by okay corners. If you press him or just get physical with him, it's like he's like, I did my best. He doesn't break tackles. Like, he has terrible yak. He always is sliding, always walking out of bounds after he gets the catch. He does tear up zones on the deep go, but he's also playing with Lamar Jackson, who's doing so much motions in the behind the line of scrimmage that he's pulling defenders up. So of course Hollywood Brown's going to sneak behind him for a few bombs. But even when that happens, half the time he drops them. Like, what do you have? Like 5 touchdowns dropped this year, 3 in that Lions game alone, I think.
Mm-hmm. I partially think him not being as effective the last few years is because of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's obviously an MVP quarterback and one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, but he does have his struggles with throwing the ball accurately deep. He's obviously, I don't think it's coincidence that his favorite and best target is Mark Andrews, huge wingspan, catch radius. Those guys make you look more accurate. Hollywood Brown, small guy, not a huge catch radius.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing with the Hollywood Brown is he was a deep guy. He's a deep threat guy. In his 3 years in the NFL, he last year at 1,000 yards, he only averaged 11 yards a catch. So is that his skill or is that a Lamar Jackson thing? I'm curious how it's going to turn out with Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray can throw the ball deep.
It's funny because it's like there are games where he just completely takes the top off the defense. I mean, look at, was it the Broncos game this year where at the end of the first half he just torched them and got open for like a 50-yard bomb in the end zone, and it was actually a beautiful catch. But then there were games towards the end of the year, and this may have been when Huntley came in, so not the same quarterback as Lamar, but Brown was getting like didn't he have like one game where it was like 8 to 10 catches for like 50 something yards? It's like if he can't get that deep catch, he's giving you like worse than Jarvis Landry efficiency with his these short catches, and he's not making any plays after the catch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not built for that. He has the speed and agility to where, if they game plan for him to get those short catches and whatnot, he can maybe pop something off. But, like you said, he's not supposed to be a Jarvis Landry type player. And last year, he had 91 catches for only 1,000 yards. Somebody with his kind of speed and deep threat ability should be getting 1,500 yards with 90 catches.
Yeah, he just reminds me of like that kid when you're playing like pickup football that just catches a little 5-yard slant and then immediately like takes a knee because he doesn't want to get hit by anyone.
Take Marquise Brown's skill and speed and give him RJ's concentration and hands and effort.
It's a game changer.
2,000 yards every year.
Breaking records. Calvin who?
I'm not saying that Hollywood doesn't show passion and like really good effort, but he leaves a lot of plays out there on the field.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
They definitely got I think they wanted to trade getting a first round pick for him.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and we're around a ton of Ravens fans. 90% of them, if not more, don't want him or didn't want him,
So they were
or at
fine
least they
with it.
complain about him all the time.
Yeah, they were fine with him exiting.
Like I would take him, but I mean not for a first round pick. I mean the Ravens got was that their first pick? Huh? It was this year first rounder, right? The Cardinals first year.
They turned it into Linderbaum.
Right,
Yeah,
Linderbaum.
so
So I mean,
yeah,
Linderbaum's
Kyle
going to
Hamilton
be
was their first pick.
yeah, Linderbaum's going to be a plug and play starter, and he could potentially be a Pro Bowler his first year if he turns out to be that good.
Yeah, well, the Cardinals are definitely going to need him to step up to kind of keep their season afloat while they wait for Nuke to come back.
Mr. Stronghands.
So, in other news, with his recent comments, Ryan Tannehill has caught a little bit of flack about. Well, it's actually both his comments. He recently came out talking about his mental struggles after that postseason debacle. Saying that it scarred him and that he has nightmares from that game, and that he's been seeing therapist about it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I was gonna bring that game up, part of this, but
I guess following all the Titans stuff, I see all their posts and whatnot, and I think for the most part, also train of thought. I think national media, for the most part, they're like, oh, you know what? Like that's, I guess, showing passion for the game and whatnot. But I've noticed, like, with more so the Titans fan base, a lot of them are, trashing him for it, and not calling him a crybaby, but giving him a hard time. My thought process was, if I was the number one seed, my team played pretty good, and I really choked the whole game away, I'd be mad too. Like that would haunt me for sure. If he came out and was like, I don't really care about the game, I just moved on from it right away. As a fan, I would be mad about that. I'd be like, well, you don't deserve to be getting paid $30-40 million. Like, we can do without you. But that's my 2 cents.
What was the context of what led to that and the questioning to lead to that?
Oh, I think this was his first time reporting to the facility because he's been away. So
they were just
his first time in front of the media since the off season.
Yeah, I mean, people are more open. Athletes are more open about mental health and whatnot. Seems like he went into a little bit of extra detail there with that one particular game and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, personally, I would not about mental health, but keep some. I mean, I don't know. That's a hard one to say. Like, don't talk about that. But and like you said, as a fan, it's kind of polarizing. Like either way, if he said, no worries, we'll be there next year," you're kind of like you don't have any feelings about it because I mean
it was be motivated at the very least to do better.
Yeah, and a big reason for the Titans losing that game was Ryan Tannehill not having any clutch gene in those last few drives. But
interception.
Yeah. I mean, I put a little bit of blame on our offensive coordinator, but yeah, Tannehill does shoulder most of it. But I mean, enough of that. I'm sure you guys did see the comments regarding Malik Willis, where Tannehill said, I think the full quote, and I'm paraphrasing here, is, "It's not my job to mentor Willis, but if he learns some things from me along the way, then that's great," or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were just sharing the first part though, and saying it's not my job to mentor him, which is not. That's out of context, and that's what I saw. And I think they were tearing, all the places were tearing him a new one because of that. And I mean, the full quote he said, he talks about how it's part of being a quarterback. We're all doing the same drills. We're competing, and I think he, you can't just sit there and be like, I'm going to take him under my wing. Who's no one even says it like that anyway. It's just a part of being a veteran quarterback that, you played bad in the playoffs last year. You should expect some competition. I mean, it's a part of the game. It's a good thing. Even when Washington's case with Wentz, we drafted Sam Howell. It's a good thing, no matter what. At the end of the day, your job's not secure. You got to play good to keep your job. It's that simple, no matter how big your contract is.
Yeah, I think if you look at, like you just explained, the full scope of it, the questions that were asked, and his full answer, I don't think he meant it like he's not going to help him at all. I do think he could have chose his words a little more wise, because of the way the media, what they ended up doing and what they were going to do. He should have had, I mean, he's a veteran. He's been in the league for close to 10 years, if not 10 years. I don't know. I feel like he could have worded a little bit better, because it did. I mean, if you look at most of the headlines, it's like Tannehill's not going to mentor Malik Willis, and then they're going to turn into, he doesn't make it even more him of being a crybaby. He's pouting about there being a backup quarterback that could potentially take snaps from him in the offseason, preseason, maybe even next regular season if he performs poorly.
So that's what I was going to say, actually. He could have worded it better, but it's not like he's like a real old veteran, and it's not like the Titans aren't expecting Tannehill to still lead them back to the playoffs. So, in my opinion, it's not his job to mentor Willis. It's his job to be in the best shape he can be and be ready to lead the team. And Willis is the young rookie. It's his job to learn all that he can learn and study under Tannehill and the coaches. So I honestly didn't think what Tannehill said was like wrong in any way. I did think it was funny that Kurt Warner came out and tweeted, not calling out Tannehill specifically, but was like, it's part of your job to help the young players. And he was like, any young quarterbacks that aren't getting like any mentoring or help, feel free to reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you. And then people were giving him flack, and he was like, he specifically called out like Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, and was like, it seems like the modern quarterbacks don't want to help the next era. And he was like, it didn't used to be like that. And I'm just like, I'm pretty sure it probably was like that for most quarterbacks, especially in the olden days. I don't think people were jumping around to help out their replacement.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, in all sports, it's definitely more buddy leagues nowadays. Back in the day, it was definitely more savage.
And then I mean,
and who's Kurt Warner made a good quarterback by mentoring them? Can't think of any. Yeah.
But yeah, look at Kurt Warner. So he gets into the league. It was a great story, right? He wins.
So who's his mentor?
He wins 2 MVPs, wins a Super Bowl. He basically has a great 3-year start to his career, and then he's trash. Goes to the Giants, he's awful. Goes to the Cardinals as a backup. Matt Leinart ends up being a complete bust, and then they're just like, "Oh, Warner, we need you to play." And he squeezes out like a solid 3 more years to end his career, but for the most part, the only reason he was mentoring is because he was just seen as an over the hill old quarterback that won an MVP, back in '99.
Agreed. I would like to hear the way the reporter asked the question too. I haven't seen the way the reporter worded it, because they literally could have said, "Do you think it's your job going into the season to mentor Malik Willis?" Like,
yeah. I mean, the other thing, I kind of forgot what my point was going to be when you were talking, Taylor. You were saying something along the lines of like, I mean, that's literally like, that's not his, like when Ryan Tannehill said it's not his job. I think he literally meant like, that's not like my job as a quarterback. My job's to be in shape, be ready to be the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And also, the teams at the end of the day don't care about the players if they're, I mean, let me take that back. I think they do. The good franchises want to take care of their players. But if you're a player like Tannehill, for instance, if he starts the year off with 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, they're going to be wanting to put Malik Willis in there, and the fans are going to want him in there. Tannehill's to Tannehill, his priority should be to take care of himself, make sure he's ready to have a good season. And if Malik Willis learns from that good work ethic, then that's what his duty is. It's not literally his job to stay an hour after practice or be like, hey, Malik Willis, there's a little trick here. Maybe we'll do that, but I think that's what he meant.
I think it has to be natural, too. It just happens naturally when you're going through the processes. Because even here, they're saying, like, the way he said it, there was no malicious tone in his voice. It's just, I think, media grasping at straws for some off-season stories.
Yep.
That's pretty much it at the end of the day.
Yeah, if you look at, like, the Brett Favre, and you mentioned Aaron Rodgers or Kurt Warner did, the Aaron Rodgers-Brett Favre situation.
I was thinking about that one,
Pretty
too.
sure Brett Favre, that was, a thing. He didn't want to mentor a quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers sat behind him for 3 years. He probably didn't make it his job to mentor him, but he probably learned a lot of stuff by sitting behind him.
Just by watching, right?
One of you said it. It's the rookie's job to ask questions. And, if Malik Willis goes up to Ryan Tannehill and asks him a question, he's not going to be like, shut up, rookie. You don't deserve this. That's not my job.
Exactly.
If he did that, that's a different story, but that's not how he meant it at all.
Yeah. So we kind of are still on the whole mental health thing with Tannehill. Did you guys see the Darius Leonard story?
Yeah, I did not.
He said that because of the way their season ended last year and everything, that this offseason he kind of, I guess towards the end of last year and then in the offseason he fell out of love with the sport.
Oh, wow.
Seems to be a Indianapolis Colts problem.
I was about to say, there's a cult trend going on. But not loving the game of football.
So I'll be honest, when I first read it, I was like, crybaby, new athlete, you didn't go to the playoffs. Oh well, you're still getting paid a lot. You're, excuse me, still one of the best, regarded as one of the best linebackers in the league. But then I did read the article, and towards the end, he was saying that he put a lot of blame on how this, because the Colts just had to win one game at the end. The last two games just had to win one to get in, and he said that he put a lot of blame on himself for those losses and not being the leader the team needed. But yeah.
So is he gonna retire now?
I think he's okay now that they got Matt Ryan.
I accidentally just blasted audio in my ear, so I didn't hear some of what you said. But I was gonna say, it's not like the Colts, and not to be insensitive about his mental health, but it's not like the Colts haven't been a competing team since I don't know what their record has been since he's been on the team, but I'm pretty sure they've at least competed for a playoff spot. It's not like they've been Jacksonville or New York Jets or anything, and he hasn't had any serious injury issues. When you think about Andrew Luck, he said he fell out of love with the game because he was spending all of his time rehabbing, and he said that just wears on you when you spend 2+ years or whatever it was rehabbing. I get that. When your job is to play professional sports.
This is my thought process, and I know it's probably insensitive, but it's we all love playing football, basketball, and whatnot. I would love to play a sport for a few years, make a couple $1 million, and be good, right? But instead, I gotta go work 9 to 5 for, not a bad salary, but if you said, hey, Taylor, you can play football for $2 million a year, yeah, I'd be all over that. I do get your whole goal every year is to reach the pinnacle, win the Super Bowl, and if your team falls short and you feel like you're a direct cause of that, or you feel responsible, then you do have 5 months to just sit at home and just think about how you screwed up or whatever, and I'm sure that is really rough.
Yeah. Oh, was he saying that he was depressed himself, or was he just talking about not playing? He just didn't want to play football? Because I don't know if it's you know, I need to be sensitive about it.
I
Anyway,
did
it's
just
talking
read
about
that
playing
he was
football.
having issues with COVID last year, he was having COVID.
Yeah, it was. He was the one that like lost a couple family members to COVID, didn't he?
Yeah. So if there are outside things that were weighing on him and made him not be able to focus as much on football and make him not like all that stuff that's happening, and then on top of that, they have a tough season. Carson Wentz loses you your playoff hopes. Maybe we won't do that for Washington, but I mean, all that piled on top of each other, maybe that could lead him to not love the game. But like you just said, Taylor, I mean, he probably is. I mean, be happy that you're playing the game that you should love. That's paying you millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't have to play. Then just don't play. Don't retire. Then, like, I don't, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well,
just do it.
I feel like this episode took a little turn for the worse of the last two topics, so I figured we can end on a little bit more of a fun note. The draft just ended. There's not too much going on in the league right now. So Tyreek Hill challenged DK Metcalf to a race. I don't know if you guys saw that story.
Mm-mm.
I think Tyreek Hill would absolutely smoke Metcalf. And I mean, DK Metcalf is fast, especially for his size, but Tyreek Hill is.
As soon as you brought up them two racing, the first thing that came to my mind was DK Metcalf catching Buda Baker from behind, and I'm like, no one can beat that man in a race. But that was in the middle of a game, and he's
also,
a big guy. When big guys move fast, they look really fast. Tyreek Hill never
The
looks
big
fast.
strides.
And Buda Baker isn't really known for being like a burner. Like,
I mean, it was impressive the ground he covered.
Yeah, that
but
stride.
Yeah,
maybe it depends on the type of race. Maybe the longer race, DK Metcalf would end up winning. But I don't know, 100-yard dash. I think Tyreek Hill, whatever it is.
So I guess this is I have a two-part question. Who do you think would win? And then after you guys answer that, then I'll go to my second question.
DK Metcalf would be the underdog. So if I was a betting man, I would put my money on DK Metcalf. And like RJ said, depends on what it is. I would actually think I would be opposite of you, RJ. I feel like DK Metcalf probably got, I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking DK Metcalf's so big and he's got all them muscles. He's probably got great burst off of like the jump. But the small guys, there's less weight, so they can move faster. So I don't know if it was like a 40-yard dash, who would win. Well, then you can just look up their 40s. But
I feel like DK Metcalf,
was in a race.
His advantage would be in the middle. So I think Tyreek Hill gets to top speed faster, and then I feel like Tyreek Hill can maybe maintain that speed better. But I feel like if you get that sweet middle ground, like when Metcalf gets his momentum going before he starts losing juice, I don't know what that would be, 200 meters, 400 meters. Maybe he could get him, but I think overall I would take Hill.
Yeah, same probably. But so Metcalf raced in that trial against Olympic sprinters, and he finished last. But I feel like Tyreek Hill would have finished like 6th, just how 7th. I don't know. He'd been up there, and the space between them too was pretty far. I mean, when it comes to professional racing, or the tenths of a second matter, and he was pretty far behind. But that was a quick rate. It wasn't. It was a 100, 200 meters, something like that.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill just makes
distance would matter, I think, for sure.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill makes it look so effortless on the field. I guess you kind of forget how fast he really is when you're thinking about races. So that would be a hard bet to make.
And he used to race in college too, didn't he? Do track and all that?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he did track.
I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, back to my second point. If you were a fan of their teams, would you want them racing?
I'd rather that than playing basketball or doing that one. Tyreek Hill was just in that pickup game yesterday. It was like 7v7 in an arena. I just saw a highlight of it, and he was scoring. Got an interception. I'd rather him race, just go regular run, because they train by running. So
yeah, I'm conflicted with that whole thing. Like, players should, because it is a professional sport. They're getting paid millions, so they shouldn't be playing other sports. But like being a fan of sports in general, I hate to be like he can't play basketball during the summer, but I mean RJ's right. I mean you can.
So having Charles Suggs.
Yeah, I mean you can get a really easy ankle injury or whatever just playing basketball by yourself.
Mm.
I
It's
don't know
up
if
to
I'd
him,
be
though.
mad about a race though, especially with how good a shape they're both in.
Yeah, what
But I
if they
mean
push
anything can
it
happen.
and they pop a hammy and then
If I was
Yeah.
the team,
them?
I would definitely I'd be like, if you get injured during this competition,
Oh yeah.
like
Oh.
this money's voided.
Yeah, I guarantee all. I mean, they all have in their contracts. It says like if you do something outside of playing for our team, and in the NFL, and you hurt
That's
yourself, it's voided. So it's like they can do it. Just if you know the risk if you get hurt or not. It's up to you.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, Deshaun Jackson, his second or third year, he used to do like flips and stuff into the end zone like all season, and I would see Eagles articles all the time, be like reporters were mad about it and like asking if fans would be mad about it. I mean, that's in the middle of the game. I don't really care. So I mean, I don't know if I'd be mad if AJ Brown or something, not to open wounds.
Saying, oh yeah, now you gotta say him was on your team now. I forgot. Like AJ, why you talking about AJ?
I was trying to think of who the fastest person probably is. Quez Watkins. I was trying to also think of more important player. Yeah, I don't know if I would be particularly angry if they did a race.
Yeah. So then my other point is if the league was doing this big fastest player race outside of Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf, who would you put up to compete?
Pure health and just pure like a pure race. I need more time on this one. Like the first thing that popped in my head was Dalvin Cook. I feel like he's got really good breakaway speed and acceleration, but I feel like there's other guys out there that could that look way faster effortlessly.
I was thinking Raheem Mostert.
It's a good one.
He got some burners.
Lindale White.
Hey, he busted off a couple of long runs in his career.
Well, definitely go Chris Johnson if we're going older run backs.
Oh yeah, I mean if we're going all time, that's a whole different
blasphemy.
Said Lynn Whale over here.
If we were definitely going all time, Chris Johnson is definitely one of the most effortless fast guys like ever. Like literally, he looked like he's running on water, like the freaking gecko on
Deshaun
water.
Jackson too. In his prime.
I think Chris Johnson gets a little bit disrespected speed wise because he is a running back, and it's like in a running back you have to do so much before you can just hit a hole and take off. Like Tyreek Hill, half the time, he's running across and he just catches it in stride, and it's just
uses momentum.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, you got to get through the line, hit a hole,
juke here, juke there. Your calves are on fire already.
And he was still dusting people, like fast people, making it look effortlessly.
He was also so fast. I wouldn't say he had great ability to break tackles, but because he was so fast, he would just like fly by people and the arms would just fly off.
Yeah, fly off his legs. He was fun to watch.
Also, if we're just talking all-time fastest players, from Washington, Darrell Green.
Back in the day, for my days.
Do you think Michael Vick would have a chance against any of these guys? He always talks about how fast he is.
I would say
straight line speed.
Prime Mike Vick, straight line. Yeah.
Who would win a? Not to hijack this question, but who would win a race, Lamar Jackson or Prime Michael Vick?
Prime Vick.
What were there 40 times? So, yeah, look at it.
I don't think Lamar ran. None of the real fast quarterbacks run 40s anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if Michael Vick has an official one, but
I just think, I mean, Vick, even when he came out of jail and went to the Eagles, he was still too fast for people. I think people forget like Prime And he even had a real bad injury like last year with Atlanta, like prime Atlanta Vic. Like he wasn't even like running these like running plays. He was just running like a West Coast offense and finding a lane and taking off.
Yeah, his best weapon was what was the tight end? Crumpert?
Algie
Crumpler.
Yeah, who's a big boy.
Until Dawkins.
Brian Dawkins wrecked him in the championship.
Oof. Those are the days.
When football was football and men were men.
Be mad.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about fast, one of the most impressive feats of speed, even more so than the DK Metcalf chase down, was Ben Watson's chase down of Champ Bailey. You guys may have seen the highlight. It's when Champ Bailey gets a pick. So
the tight end Ben Watson?
Yeah, Champ Bailey gets a pick on the right side of the end zone and just takes it straight down the sideline for a pick six. Ben Watson is on the left side of the end zone. When he notices the interception, he comes sprinting down from corner to corner, and he tackles Champ Bailey on the one.
I don't know if I've ever seen that.
I remember that one. That one could be more impressive because Ben Watson's a tight end. I don't know what his real speed is, but he can't be faster. Well, maybe he is faster than DK Metcalf. And then Champ Bailey is known for being one of the faster cornerbacks in NFL history.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't know he was coming, but yeah, that was definitely an impressive play.
Should have been a Redskin for life.
Did he start there?
Yeah. He got traded
Santana
for
Morris.
Portis.
Clinton Portis is what it was. It was Santana Morris was at the Jets, I think.
Yeah, he got traded for Clinton Portis.
Man, old school Washington stuff.
I mean, Clinton Portis, was one of our better running backs in history, but Champ Bailey is one of the best cornerbacks in history. There's a difference.
I don't think people realize what a freak Clinton Portis is. Like, I think he ran like a 4.29 or something 40, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I remember that was back. He was my first jersey for Washington back in the day.
He's one of my favorite running backs.
I still got it over there somewhere. It's just old and dirty.
I remember that jersey.
Yeah, it's big.
Another guy who, we can still stay on this topic for a little longer. We just kind of grazed over it. Deshaun Jackson. I mean,
they brought him up a little bit.
Just
his prime.
That one year on the Eagles. Well, does he have the record for most 50-yard touchdowns in NFL history?
I'm pretty sure he does. Pretty sure he got it.
50 or 60 yarders, I think he does.
Yeah. That 1 year, I think it was maybe McNabb's last year on the Eagles, where it was like, or maybe the year before, where it was like every time Deshaun Jackson touched the ball, whether it would be an end around or a bomb or a punt return, and it was just like, oh, yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, it was 2009, so his second year. Yeah, it was a year before Vic started. It was McNabb's last year on the Eagles, and we had a decent year, but yeah, it was every time he touched the ball, it was like a 50, 60-yard catch, or he had punt returns that year, end arounds, everything. He was just lightning in a bottle. He's another guy that just makes it look effortless. I mean, he's 5'10", 175.
Glides.
That kind of speed. I was thinking about him when you mentioned the race, because at his age, I mean, just a year or two ago, when he came back to the Eagles, he had a game against Washington where he had 2 50-yard catches. I mean, he was out for the rest of the year. He used all of his juice, but I mean, the speed's still there, and he never looks like he's running that fast.
The best play ever was when that punt play to finish the game against the Giants. That was just one of the coolest things. I mean,
I would
say and just turns it into a beautiful return.
His 2 most iconic plays were
the metal hands.
Yeah, number 2, and then the Washington play with Mike Vick, where Mike Vick threw 90 yards in the air.
LeRon Landry just
he did his best.
Yeah, we had bad safety play back then. After Sean Taylor, it was downhill for a while.
Yeah.
Reed Dowdy, never forget.
Landry did have a good arm workout, though.
Remember when
the pump?
Oh yeah, he did. Remember when Reed Dowdy got just embarrassed?
He was worse than Landry Collins.
Andre Johnson.
That's what I was talking about. That's exactly why I brought it up. It's Reed Dowdy. He jumped as high as he could, and he literally had he needed 3 more arms attached to him to reach where Andre Johnson was.
Poor Dowdy.
I really liked Andre Johnson too. Man, he was one of those quiet, just go out there, not be a douchebag and fucking score.
So he was playing Finnegan.
Well, Finnegan brought the beast, and that was awesome too to watch Finnegan get lit up. He deserved every ounce of that.
I still say that Finnegan did not deserve to get thrown out of that game. Otto Johnson should have just got tossed, and that was it. RJ he's just mad because Finnegan cost
Josh Morgan.
Yeah,
that was when it was the Rams though.
Threw the football at Finnegan and got the 15-yard.
This was after that. This was after that, technically.
Was it?
Because he was on the Titans. He was on the Titans when that happened. He was on the Rams. This was years later. I never liked him because his only skill was to get into people's heads. Was you need to have both types of skills out there. You can't just be a prick.
I mean, he's a 2-time Pro Bowl, I think.
He only got the job with the Rams because he followed Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher's little dumb mustache.
As soon as you said Jeff Fisher, first thing I thought about was mustache. And then you said it. It's funny.
It's great.
This Texas. Have you guys the running back that committed to Texas? His name's like Bijan Robinson. He just signed an NIL partnership with a Lamborghini dealership.
Ooh, big baller. Give him a discount. You still got to pay $500,000 for the I ain't make it yet. I'm out of the league yet. Nope, well, it's part of the contract.
You have to buy it.
Can't afford it.
Exactly. I
make it yet.
999.
Anything else you guys want to talk about? It's kind of been a light week besides draft, but we've done so much draft coverage.
Yeah.
Not
much going on. Not much going on. I didn't hear about the ones we were talking about with Tannehill and Darius Leonard though.
All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a show then.
That's it.
Thanks for tuning in. This is No Interference. Again, we are your hosts, Westside, Big Sass, and the Bull. Thanks for the views, the follows. Thanks for taking the time to watch our show. Again, if you liked what you saw, subscribe, like, share, drop a comment. We're kind of getting to the dull part before the before the season kicks off. So if there's anything you want to chat about, let us know. But adios.
See you later.
Peace.